Hi, I am so excited to meet you virtually, even though what I really wanted to do was say hi to you at the end of my amazing trip to Nebraska, which was just like a highlight of my life. It was an incredible journey. I saw so many stunning things and landscape and a lot of weather. I have memories that I am really going to treasure. So I'm really grateful to have had that trip and to have the chance to work on my own writing and to be inspired by all the things that I have seen while I was there. So I'm going to read from my book, This Angel on My Chest, and they are linked stories, and they're based on the death of my first husband. And I've blurred fact and fiction quite a bit. So as you can imagine, it's a really personal book. And the assignment I gave myself when I was writing was that each story had to include one hard, true thing from my personal experience of grieving Rob's death. So it could be an incident or an observation or an emotional truth. And sort of my purpose was not so readers would say, I wonder if this really happened. Did this happen? Is what happened here for real? But what I really wanted to do was to capture that feeling of grieving and the resonance of the sense that grieving is universal, because it's going to happen to all of us. Someone we love is going to die at some point, and we will grieve that loss. And yet it's individual. As you know, if you have lost someone, it feels like you are the only person in the world who has ever felt that exact heartbreak. So that was sort of my intentions in writing this book. And it's a book of short stories. It's linked because in each story, a young husband dies. And that's kind of a crazy way to structure a book, because the same thing keeps happening over and over. So as I was writing, I realized that I would need to sort of show the reader what this book was and why the same story was being told over and over again. And that is why I wrote the story I'm going to read now, which is called A Quiz. I kind of consider it the spine of the book, that it will show the reader, it will give a reader a sense of what I'm trying to do with this book. So a quiz is actually told in the form of a quiz, and there are 7 questions. And here we go. A quiz. The following questions are multiple choice. Please select the option that best reflects the correct answer. Do not make more than one choice. Number 1, you are at a housewarming party. You're wearing a new skirt that you bought half price earlier in the day because you went to the mall, because you thought you shouldn't want to be alone. You don't know the hosts of the housewarming party, but your friend does, and she's supposed to be meeting you, but she's late. So you're standing in a corner, holding a plastic cup of Pinot Grigio, discreetly trying to rip out the tacking threads you forgot to remove from the back slit of the skirt. A man approaches you. You know that most women your age, not quite 40, would find this also not quite 40 man attractive enough with his product bristled hair and loose smile. You're annoyed that his front teeth are too big. You're annoyed that the tacking thread is stubborn and still there. You're annoyed that you're drinking Pinot Grigio at a party instead of Maker's Mark bourbon at your house alone. You're annoyed that your friend is late, that she's always late, even when she promises not to be late. The man says, "Hello, I'm Vince." You say, A, "Nice to meet you, Vince." B, "I'm not going to ask what you do because everyone in DC asks that, and isn't that so annoying?" And then laugh in a throaty, flirty, fetching way as you confess that you're a lawyer and wait for him to laugh and tell you that he is too. C, "Can you see this tacking thread in my skirt?" And then spin around, arching your back a bit as you point down to the thread, knowing he'll be happily confused by this sanctioned opportunity to stare at your ass. Laugh in a throaty, flirty, fetching way. Later, follow him to his place in your own car. D, "Hi, Vince. You're probably a nice guy, but you should know that my husband died of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago, and he was only 42. The correct answer is D, choose D. Vince will slither away, and when your friend hears what you've done, she'll threaten never to take you to another party. When you get home, you will pour bourbon into a tall glass and sip it slowly in front of the dark fireplace, obsessively rattling the ice cubes every couple of minutes. Number 2, you're at the grocery store, eyes scanning rows of canned tomatoes, diced, petite diced, whole, stewed, crushed, sauce with basil, sauce with garlic, diced with basil, diced with garlic, fire roasted, low sodium, no sodium paste. In another aisle, there's also tomato juice. But you've forgotten what you're looking for, what you might have planned to cook with tomatoes. It's a breathless amount of choices and forms for just a tomato. Your cart is empty. You have stared at yogurt, at cereal, at detergent and frozen vegetables and soup, but how is it possible to pick one, you wonder, terrified that you'll make the wrong choice, that you will bring home the wrong form of tomato, the wrong cereal, that what you do will be wrong in some ill-defined way. Excuse me, it's a woman wearing black yoga pants and a too tight ponytail. Do you happen to know where the barley is? It's one of those things I can never seem to find. She smiles, the kind of woman skilled at netting people into her life, the kind of woman unafraid to ask for help or call for directions or beg for a favor or show need. Do you, A, smile back and say, aisle 4 near the rice on the bottom shelf? B, smile back and say, aisle 6 near the oatmeal, even though you know barley is actually in aisle 4 near the rice? C, not smile, but speak sincerely. I'm sorry, I don't know. D, smile back and say, check near the rice, though you should know that my husband ate a lot of whole grains, but he died anyway of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago when he was only 42. You might as well eat Pop-Tarts every day. Keep smiling until your skin feels tight enough to snap off your face. The correct answer is D. Choose D. She will swing her cart around and barrel back up the aisle, ponytail sawing side to side. You will not buy tomatoes. You will abandon the cart in aisle 5 and slink out to the parking lot and sit in your car for 10 minutes in chilly silence, watching people load bags of groceries into the backs of their SUVs. You'll decide that maybe you wanted petite diced tomatoes for a jambalaya casserole that you used to make for Super Bowl parties and potlucks. At home, for dinner, you'll eat the last can of the black beans from the emergency cupboard in the basement and chuckle bitterly when you see that the expiration date stamped on the bottom of the can was 6 months ago. You will not bother heating the beans, and you'll eat them straight from the can, and you'll tell yourself they actually taste better that way. Number 3, you're at a therapist's office. This is not your therapist, not yet, but this is the person who has been recommended by a friend. The walls of the office are gray, the color of mist cloaking a mid-Atlantic beach town in late January, and the upholstery is that same gray. The furniture is comfortable, but also businesslike, clearly office furniture, and not furniture that would be in a house. You are seated exactly in the center of the 3-cushion sofa. There is not a coffee table in front of you, the way there would be in a house. This is not a house. It is a therapist's office. You have never been to a therapist. Everyone has been telling you to go. Your friend made the appointment. Your friend drove you here. Your friend is at the Starbucks on the corner, waiting for you, drinking an eggnog latte and flipping pages of the free City Paper newspaper that was left at the table where she is seated. You wish you were seated at that table. You wish you liked eggnog lattes. You wish you were good at asking for help and accepting favors and spilling your guts and finding closure, making progress, crying in front of strangers, wringing your hands, looking at the bright side, and keeping a gratitude journal. The therapist, a woman, could be 50 years old or she could be 65. She sits in a gray leather chair directly across from you, about 5 feet away. Her black shoes are thick-soled, sturdy, very functional, Velcro instead of laces or buckles. You would hate yourself if you ever wore those shoes, unless it was to complete a Frankenstein costume on Halloween. You can't stop staring at her shoes, at her ugly, ugly shoes. You are the shallowest person on all of planet Earth. The therapist says, why don't you tell me what brings you here today? You say, A, my friend and her Volvo, ha ha. B, nothing, but you burst into messy, sloppy, choking sobs. C, I have insurance if that's what you're worried about. D, my husband died of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago when he was only 42. Speak calmly, speak coldly, speak as if you don't care if she hears you or not. Speak as though this is a test you are giving her and she is not passing. Speak as if you are a difficult person to deal with, as if you are a bitch. The correct answer is D. Choose D. She will nod and scribble on a legal pad, and she'll say, go on, and you'll say, this isn't going to work. Stare uncomfortably at her shoes, and she will explain why and how it will all work. And in the end, you'll smile and shake her hand and say, this has been wonderful, thank you, I'll see you next week. And you will go find your friend at Starbucks who has ripped out an article about an art gallery opening she wants to take you to. And next week, you'll call the therapist voicemail to say you have the flu. And the week after that, you'll tell the voicemail that you're heading out of town unexpectedly. And the next week, you'll inform the voicemail that you have opera tickets. And then one time, the next week or another week, you'll call and tell the voicemail that you're sorry, that therapy just isn't right for you, though you know it can do many wonderful things for many people. You will say, good luck, into the voicemail and wonder what you mean. Number 4, you're at your friend's wedding shower. She is one of your friends from college who you don't see very often, and you have driven 2 hours to another city to attend this wedding shower. You didn't really want to be here, but you had nowhere else to be, and you didn't want to be alone. You drove 20 miles over the speed limit the whole way, but there were no cops to pull you over and give you a warning to tell you to slow down. You have bought your friend a gift off the registry, but you worry that the clerk at the store in the mall looked up the wrong registry because you can't imagine what your friend wants with a Moroccan tagine, but it comes in an impressively big box that the clerk gift wrapped for you. Your box is the biggest one on the table. The other boxes are flat and look as though they contain towels and sheets. Your friend is also 3 months pregnant. She has only started telling people, so this news surprises you when she greets you at the door, announcing in a loud voice, I'm so glad you made it. Guess what? I'm pregnant. There's lemonade at the wedding shower, but no wine. You find out that it's a shower for couples, and the men gather in the cold backyard, huddled over a barbecue smoker, watching football on a small TV set that's hooked up through utility extension cords snaking around the house and onto the patio. The favored team is losing by a lot. The men have a cooler full of beer in their part of the shower, but no one says, go get some beer if you want, and no one in the women's part of the shower is drinking beer. You're wearing the half-price skirt with the tacking thread finely removed, and the other women are wearing jeans. You're sitting on the center cushion in a 3-seat couch with 2 women you don't know on either side of you. You don't know anyone. The people you know who should be here all called with last-minute excuses as to why they aren't here. There are a lot of cookies, but none homemade. You are on your second glass of lemonade when one of the women sitting on the couch asks, do you have children? Do you, A, recognize that she wants to talk about herself and pertly ask, do you? And admire the flow of pictures and YouTubes cascading off her phone and murmur, so cute and adorable, over and over 100 to 1,000 times? B, remark, yes, that's what I heard too, rain for tomorrow and probably the sleet will miss us. C, answer calmly, not yet. D, say, no, I don't, because my husband died of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago and he was only 42. Stare hard at her to convey that you were trying to get pregnant, but you hadn't yet. Stare very hard so she understands that you had names for these children who will never exist, 2 of them, the boy and the girl. Understand that no matter how hard you stare, she will never imagine that such a thing could happen to her. The correct answer is D. Choose D. The woman you don't know will mumble, "Oh, I'm so sorry, how awful." And she will work to be sincere and kind. She will rest her hand on your arm long enough so her fingertips feel seared into your skin. You will have to thank her. You will have to say something to put her at ease. You will have to laugh and stare at her hand still touching your arm. A simple thing, touch. And then you will have to watch her run to the bathroom a minute later, or go for more lemonade, or it doesn't matter where she goes, because when she returns from the bathroom or the kitchen or outside where she's gone to check on her husband, still alive, because when she returns, she will sit in a folding chair opposite the room from you, showing pictures of her kids to someone else, talking about nannies and preschools and car seats. At the end of the party, you will be sitting on the center cushion of the big couch, surrounded by no one. You will be alone. You will be alone in the middle of this party, eating barbecue the husband's made, finally with a can of beer steely cold in your hand, finally toasting your friend's wedding that you will not attend, toasting your friend's baby that you hope will be quite colicky. Number 5. Your friends and some friends of theirs and one friend of the friends, a big group that you don't want to see, suggest meeting for dinner at a sushi restaurant tucked down a Georgetown side street in DC. You know the place. You used to go there when you were in college. You don't know why your friends want to meet there, except maybe because it has a parking lot. They've never talked much about sushi, but now some of them gave up gluten. Some of them also gave up dairy. Some of them are trying to lose 20 pounds. Some of them won't eat beef. One of the friends' friends is a vegan who loves seaweed salad. Apparently, the only intersection of what everyone will eat is sushi, just as the only intersection of where everyone will drive to is Georgetown with a parking lot. Friends and their friends live in Bethesda, Roslyn, Foggy Bottom, Tenleytown, Spring Valley, and you alone in distant Fairfax, Virginia, which is like another, possibly imaginary land to them. You have nothing against sushi or Georgetown or these friends or their friends, but you used to go to this sushi restaurant in college at Georgetown. You haven't been back for a long time. In college, when you were meeting people meeting people, you shouldn't have to explain all this to them, you think, that you want to remember the sushi restaurant in one singular way, not also as a place where you sit with friends and their friends, a noisy, cackling group of "on the side, please," and someone spills sake, and someone else confesses to being in an affair with her married boss, someone else tells a funny story about head lice. Not all that, all those stories covering up what you want to remember, who you want to remember, sitting across from you in the back booth, all this other stuff blanketing over this very pure place, this very perfect place in your past. But they keep emailing, what about the 17th or 18th if it's after 7:30? You answer by emailing in response, A, let's pick another sushi place if that's okay with everyone. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine, LOL. We'll explain later, smiley face. B, 17th, 18th won't work. I'm so busy lately that please just meet without me, frowny face. C, 17th is fine. See you then, smiley face. D, my husband died of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago and he was only 42. Type in all caps at first, delete, then retype in part caps to create the perfect emphasis. Push reply all, then snapshot your laptop and stare angrily out your office window at a stupid pigeon because now the sushi restaurant is ruined. The correct answer is D. Choose D. They will meet without you on the 17th. Someone will spill sake, but the boss story will only be the confession of a crush, which they will decide is harmless enough. And they will share stories from their past about all the married men they had crushes on. and then debate whether it's possible that anyone at their husband's offices has crushes on their husbands and laugh uproariously trying to imagine it. Then they will talk about you. They will say things like, well, I drove her to the therapist's office that first time, and well, I invited her to some parties so she'd get out, and well, I sent that spa certificate, and well, I said she could call me anytime, even late at night, and well, we all went to the funeral, right? And well, I never even met the guy. Then they will fall silent, and their friends will jab chopsticks at the tablecloth. On the 17th, you will watch Dirty Dancing on cable and think about how Patrick Swayze is dead, and so is Baby's father, and how no one else watching the movie is thinking about that. And even if they are, it will not be for the same reason you are. Number 6, you're sitting in your living room. It's 4:30. Today, you've cleaned out the front closet and packed up a number of old hats and scarves and coats into black garbage bags to donate. You sorted through the kitchen drawer with all the junk, tiny wrenches from IKEA furniture that you no longer own, manuals for coffee pots and irons you no longer own, 3 half-used rolls of duct tape, spools of thread, and all the rest, and you've thrown away the takeout menus that are more than a year old, and you've magic markered dates on the remaining menus, and you ripped up the menus for Indian places because you've decided you don't like Indian food anymore. You found a folder for the takeout menus. You scrubbed out both bathtubs, even though no one has used the tub in the guest room for several months, and there's a woman who comes in to clean every other week anyway. You finally moved the sundresses and summer blouses to another closet. You've re-sewn the hidden button that popped off the half-price skirt. You've thrown away the dirty rubber bands from produce and have saved only the clean ones from bundles of mail, and you found a small tin to store them in. You organized the wine rack into rows of red and rows of white, and one row that holds rosé, prosecco, and champagne. Now you sit in your living room on the middle cushion of the big couch, and you think about sliding over to sit on the edge, but you don't. And you think about turning on a lamp, but you don't. And you think about getting up to pour a glass of bourbon, but you don't. And so you just sit there. It's Thanksgiving Day. The phone rings. Do you, A, answer cheerfully, Mom, it's so nice of you to call. I'm doing fine. I really am. B, answer cheerfully, Mom, I've only got a minute because I'm headed out the door to have pumpkin pie with some friends, but thanks for calling me. I'm doing fine. I really am. C, answer tearfully, Mom, I'm so sad right now and tired, and all I want to do is crawl into bed and yank the covers up over my head. I'm not doing fine. I'm really not. D, answer. Simultaneously mumble and sigh hello, then listen for a moment, then say, Mom, my husband died of a brain aneurysm 6 months ago and he was 42 and it's Thanksgiving, so how the fuck do you think I'm doing? Correct answer is D. Choose D. You will feel bad for using swear words with your mother, but she will not be surprised. She will not be angry. She will not be judgmental. She will not tell you to shut up and count your blessings, nor will she tell you that you should see a therapist. She will not suggest that you get out more. She will not cry. Also, she will not understand because her husband is still right there in the house with her, downstairs watching the football game with a blanket tucked around his legs to keep out the chill. Number 7, you're a writer. You're trying to solve a problem. You want to show a reader the single-minded obsession of a woman whose husband has died. You want to show that such a woman has a powerful need to tell her story over and over because she needs to hear it. A woman like that needs to hear it, must speak the words again and again. They cannot be true. They cannot. You want to show that this woman can't believe that this thing has happened to her. It has happened to her. It has happened to her. This thing has happened to you. This thing has sliced your life into 2 parts, the before and the after, and no one can understand. You're certain no one can understand. You're afraid. No one can understand. You don't know how to understand. That is the problem. So you read lots of books. The literary type, A Grief Observed, The Year of Magical Thinking, What the Living Know, and an armload of the self-help therapeutic type, each implying that it will explain how to survive. You read and you write. You're a writer. That's how you solve problems. You write about them. That's what you know how to do. That's what you believe in, the power of words. You read books and you write stories. Your stories are pretty good about women named Vanessa and Kathy and Nicole and women who don't have names. You write your stories over and over and over. You write a lot of stories. That isn't working. So you think about what's more than a story. What have other writers done? All you know is writing. You're not going to suddenly film a movie or sculpt or knit. Other writers have written chapters of PowerPoint presentations, or included a flipbook figure along the page margins, or splashed the page with footnotes, or left empty white pages, or given to the narrator the author's exact name, or interspersed quietly horrific interludes about World War I between the stories of a boy growing up in Michigan, or invented the nonfiction novel. James Agee said in his preface to Let Us Now Praise Famous Men, "It's only a book by necessity, frustrated at having to tell a story that was more than a book." Flaubert said, "Madame Bovary, c'est moi." You write more and more, clicking sentences and paragraphs into your computer. People have written about far greater tragedies than yours. World War I, World War II, 9/11, the Holocaust, slavery, Vietnam, the Civil War, any war, all wars, all evil, all massacres, poverty, incest, rape, murder, genocide, patricide, infanticide, starvation, re-education camps, atomic bombs, mustard gas, nerve gas, landmines, torture, all the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of deaths and vast tragedies and horrors that can happen to absolutely any person on earth at absolutely any moment. And thinking of this, you are left with A, shame, B, guilt, C, fear, D, my husband, Robert K. Roth Jr., died of a heart attack when he was only 37. There is no correct answer. Choose D. You will write a book. You will tell the same story again and again until you know it is true. Thank you.